Hey, you guys, it's Megan from Create Your Future. Today we have Karen here with us. Hey, Karen, how are you?
Hi, Megan. How are you doing?
I'm good. You feeling better?
Yes, I'm feeling much better. Thank you for everyone for all the positive intentions.
Oh, that's awesome. An amazing community. I'm glad you're feeling better. Before we jump in the video, you guys, let me remind you, Karen's a coach here at Create Your Future. Check out her link in the description below because she definitely knows what she's talking about. And today we are going to talk about how to manifest specific things and inspired action. So Karen has some stories that she's going to share with you guys. And we're going to go through some tips. And I intend that this will be helpful for all you guys.
All right, so I guess we could start with the story and then we'll kind of break down the mechanics, right?
Okay, yeah, good idea.
I have props for this one too because I wanted to show you guys that it is very much the exact same thing. So right before the pandemic, actually, it was like last summer, whatever, right before the pandemic, I like went to the Nike store and there's a Nike outlet by my house, so it's like outlets have random like styles, right? They have what they have. They don't usually restock what it is, and they have sometimes like the popular style, but they also have like random ones, right? So like it's not like they always have the same thing. But anyway, so this is important for later on. So I went to the Nike outlet and I bought these shoes, right? So they're right here. They're
super cute.
And I love them because they're really soft. They have like a really soft like inside, so really comfortable. But the only thing I didn't like about them is that they get dirty really easily, especially because they're fabric right here. So I basically love them but couldn't wear them anywhere, especially because I take my dog out a lot and there's mud and dirt, and anytime I would wear them they would get dirty. So every time like I would kind of wear them, I would have this thought of like, like it would be really cool to get like these exact shoes in a darker color, so that I can wear them more places, and I'll save these more for events that are like I know for a fact they're not going to get dirty, because every time they got really dirty it took me forever to clean them. Right. So it's kind of like a fleeting thought, and again, this was last summer, so around December, and this was just like a thought I kept having, but I didn't really care too much, and I wasn't looking at the time. But in December, my mom reminded me that I wanted this, and she's like, "Oh, like, what do you want for Christmas? Do you want me to get you like those shoes in black?" And I was like, "Actually, you know what? I do want that." When she started looking, nowhere to be found, because like I said, it was like a random model. They just had like the one when I went, and it was extremely random, like a really, really random model. So
you just can go on Amazon and find it.
Yeah, and my mom couldn't find it. She couldn't find it online. And she was like, do you want another pair? And I was like, no, it's fine. Like, I guess, like, I have a pair of black sneakers. Like, I guess I could wear those. It's not a big deal. And I let it go. But then I had the thought again of like, you know what? But, like, I really do want those specific sneakers in black or a dark color. And I kind of started thinking, or at the very least, I want them to have the same, like, soft on the inside. And then I let it go. So around, like, February, maybe March, I went out with my friend and we were going to go to dinner. And it so happened to be right next to the Nike outlet. And that day, I was just inspired to go into the store. It was literally 15 minutes before they closed the store. And as I was about to walk in, the guy stopped me at the door and he was like, "You don't have enough time to shop." And I was like, "Okay, like I still want to go inside and look." And he's like, "But you don't have enough time." And I'm like, "Okay, like cool, but I still want to go inside. Like I don't care. Like I don't actually want to buy anything. Like I just want to go look." And he was like, "No, blah, blah, blah." And I was like, "Well, there's 15 minutes till it closes, so I'm going to go inside." That's my problem if I don't find anything. So I went inside with my friend, and I told her right before, and I didn't tell her that I wanted, like, those specific shoes. I just said, I want some that are, like, soft on the inside. And I was, like, running around the store touching all of the shoes because I was like, man, I'm going to find something before these guys.
You wanted the soft inside.
And I kept touching them all. And then my friend comes. I thought I went through the whole thing and I didn't see anything. And my friend comes around and says, "Oh, like I found these shoes. They're soft on the inside, and look, they're actually dark purple, but they look black, but they're really dark. And this is the exact same shoe."
Oh my gosh!
It's the exact same model. They're both literally exactly the same. Different.
Wow. And your size too.
So that was the other thing. Yes. It was the only shoe of its kind at all in the entire store, and it was my size.
Oh my gosh.
It was just sitting on a shelf right there waiting for me, basically,
Yeah, that's what it sounds
to
like.
find it. And my friend, and again, like, remember, my friend didn't know that I was looking for this specific shoe. She knew I was looking for the soft thing on the inside or whatever. But what are the odds that within 15 minutes she saw all the shoes and she went, picked these up and brought them to me, because she's also me pushed out, and I had to get these shoes because this was my desire. So she kind of acted in support of that by bringing them to me. And so when I saw them, I was like in disbelief. I was like, there's no way. Because again, random model, not found very easily. And what are the odds that they're in exactly my size? The only pair.
Oh my
So
God.
I like ran to the front and I bought them. And as I was walking out the store, I kind of like looked at the guy and I was like, ha. See, I had enough time to shop. So basically, yes, part of how the whole inspired action concept is, you don't, like, there were many times where I could have gone looking for like the shoes or anything, like just looking for it and like trying to make it happen. But I was inspired that particular day to go into that Nike store and with my friend who found the shoes for me, and they just happened to be sitting on a shelf right there. Once again, this is like over a year apart, or at least almost a year apart. And you would think, oh, there's no way that they were just gonna have this model that they randomly like sell in my size, in the color that I wanted. There's no way. There is a way, because that's what I wanted, that's what I desired, so it had to show up. And I, at no point did I have that thought, because this was something that I didn't have much resistance to, because I wanted it, but I was just kind of like entertaining the idea of like, oh, I would really like to have this thing, and then letting it go.
Yeah. And then you're just inspired that day to go do that. Yeah, that's amazing. And then your friend, found those without even knowing. That's amazing.
And I think when we want something, even if it's like a material thing or a person, it doesn't matter what it is, but when we want something, like our thoughts almost travel like back in time and forward in time, because someone has to create exactly what we want, right? Yeah. So like this water bottle, like I love this water bottle. I obviously didn't make it myself with my hands. I didn't design it myself to build it, but in some way I did create it in my head, and then someone had to actually make it so that I could purchase it.
Yeah, it's amazing. I was actually thinking when you were telling me that story about also not settling for no, like you kept going, that fleeting thought. It wasn't like you're pushing it, but you also didn't settle for like, I'm not going to get him, and because it made me think, is actually this right here is sitting in front of me. So can you guys see that, or is it like faded? It's Cherry Zero. Okay. So I am obsessed with Cherry Zero. And when the pandemic started, they stopped carrying it. And for some reason there was no aluminum or something. So I just was like, first I was in disbelief. And then I was like, then I just realized one day, probably like 6 months into it, I was like, you know what? You're just settling for no. You know how to manifest, because I started drinking, Cherry or Zero, Coke Zero. It's just not the same for me. It's just not the same. I love this stuff. Like I won't even share it with my kids. It's like gold for me, but I was like, you know what? Why are you settling for this? You can manifest this, right? Like, why are you buying into the story of there's aluminum shortage, and I'm like, you know what? Yeah. And I had that fleeting thought. I'm like, nope, I'm getting Cherry Zero. They're going to bring it back. And guess what? Sure enough. And I took a picture, because everybody that knows me knows how obsessed with Cherry Zero. And like, they're like, what are you going to do? I'm like, I don't, all that story. But when I went back there, and I didn't tell them I was manifesting it, but when I went back to the store, I was like, look, I was telling everybody, I was super excited about it. Cause I know how it works, but stuff like that, you can be specific and not settle for no.
Yeah. And that's the key, like not letting the no mean anything. Like even that guy was trying to stop me from going into that store. And I was like, no. It's funny because I wasn't even going to go to the store. We were going to dinner right next door. And I just I really felt compelled to go inside the store that day.
Yeah.
I felt compelled. And even when he was like, no, I was like, I don't know why, but I need to come in here now.
Somebody was calling you.
Yeah. It was like my desire was calling me, right? And I wanted it. And so I had to go into that store.
Yeah, that's amazing with that. And I was just thinking, kind of relating to the shoes with that Coke is, I did go on Amazon. I did go on the Coke website. I went everywhere to try to get this, like everywhere. And so, just shows you your thoughts. Like, like you said, did I go back in time? What happened? When did this even occur? All I know is I wanted that cherry 0. And
yeah,
I was
now that I think of it, I also like there was a point in time where I was in Florida and there was a Nike outlet there and I was nearby and I was like, maybe I'll go to that one and maybe it'll be there. And I had the thought and then I was like, you know what, never mind. Like I'm not gonna go.
yeah.
But that's like where the inspiration comes from. Like those shoes were waiting for me at that particular store. And the second I was like in the area, I felt compelled to go in there and purchase them.
Yeah, it was just in that timing and who like, and they were there and your friend was there and the timing aligned. And, you know, I think sometimes with inspired action, if it's like, it's about trusting yourself with that too, if that makes sense. Cause sometimes you have that little voice, no, should I, not? You know, and I'm always like, yeah, go, you know, if you hear that little voice, sometimes I hear that little voice, you know, and it just feels like, I don't know if it's just a little voice, but it's just like, you feel compelled to do something. I guess that's the best way how you described it. I think that's a really good way of describing it.
Yeah, and even like my apartment now that I manifested, that's in one of the earlier videos that I did. I remember that I had actually decided that I was gonna move into like another luxury apartment complex, and I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna move into that one. And I had the like the what's it called, like the appointment to see this apartment one day. And I woke up that morning and I was like, oh, I don't know if I want to go. Like I just don't know. Like I'm so tired. Like I already know I'm moving into the other place. Like why am I gonna go see it? So it's raining, like I'm gonna go get wet, like do I really want to go? But part of me was like compelling me to go and part of me was like, oh no, like I don't really want to, like I'll just move into the other one, it's fine, like I like that one enough. And I remember that day my friend came in too, my old roommate, and she was like, no, like why aren't you gonna go? Like just go and check it out, like you have nothing to lose, like just go check it out. And as soon as I walked into the apartment that I am in now, like they were supposed to show me 2 units, and I walked into the first unit and I knew it was the one. And it's funny because all the decor in the apartment that like comes with the apartment is all black and white. And I actually I love black and white furniture. My old room was all black and white. All of the furniture was black and white. So it was so funny to me that like this whole apartment, like the bathroom, the kitchen, everything is decorated in black and white. So that's what I mean. Like our thoughts traveled through time. Again, I didn't physically build the apartment myself or decide what it was going to look like, but my desire has to be out there somewhere waiting for me, right? So whoever built this apartment, my thought went back to them in time, and they were like, "Ooh, wouldn't it be cool if the apartment building was black and white? Like, let's do it this way." Yeah. And so, therefore, by the time when I went to go get it, it was exactly as I would have wanted it. If I would have created an apartment, if I would have decided this is exactly what it would look like.
You know, I think that's amazing. I was just thinking about too, like not the house I live in now, but a house before this. It was kind of like the same thing. I was going to a totally different part of town and I saw this house and I was like, ugh, I didn't like this one house, you know, and I was totally against going to this other part of town. But it was the same thing, kind of like you're saying, like about like, oh, it's raining. Also, I'm like, I don't really want to go. Like, I just want to go home. I think it was a nice day. I think I probably want to lay out in the sun or go for a walk or something. The last thing I want to do is continuously look at houses, you know. But something was just pushing me to go look at this house, right? Again, not in an area that I'd really considered. And I walked in that house, and it was like the same thing. It was like, you know, you're like, this is what I've been thinking my whole life, you know, like at that point in time, you know, and things, your desires can change, obviously. But it was like what you were saying, I could relate to that, just feeling something pushing you and you walk in there and you're like, really? Did somebody like just read my mind?
Yeah, and this goes into that idea of like all of our desires are already done. Like everything's already been created. Everything that we could possibly think right now that we want is out there. So we have to let ourselves be nudged to get there. Like we can't stop ourselves from getting it. You just have to know that your desires are out there. They're ready for you. They're waiting for you. They want to come to you. Just like those shoes wanted to come home with me that day.
Yes.
And you just have to like just know that it's coming and that's it. And keep intending towards getting what you want, not those thoughts of like, oh, but what if it's missing this? What if this doesn't exist? What if that doesn't exist? Like what if like this has to be like made or like it doesn't exist? Actually funny story about like soda too. So I recently found
I say pop, how funny.
Yeah, but all the colloquial words from Florida, so soda. I found this like it's watermelon Mountain Dew a couple months ago. I found this watermelon Mountain Dew, and I actually don't drink soda very often. And I had it, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is the most amazing thing I've ever drank in my life." It literally tastes like liquid candy, and I was obsessed with it. And I remember I was like, I don't know if this is like really that common. Like, it's the first time I've seen it. I've only seen it in like select stores. But I was like, I hope they never stop making this, and I hope they know how amazing this is. And then I had a thought of like, I wish this came in like the zero version, because I obviously can't be drinking these every single day. There's a lot of sugar. And I really wish they would come in the zero version. I wonder if I wonder if they already do. And I didn't think anything of it. And then I remember like maybe a month ago, and I found this soda maybe like 2-3 months ago, and I was like obsessed with it. Like, I had to limit myself from drinking it. And so I went into Walmart, and there was like hundreds of cases of the regular version and the zero version.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, this is the greatest day, because now I can have one every day as I please, because it's the zero version, so I don't have to feel bad about it.
Right.
But I also thought right away, I was like, oh my God, I totally created this. Like, I don't know when this came into existence, but like, I know I created this because this is exactly what I was thinking about.
And that's so true. And I was thinking, since our last video, people have been saying, how do you guys do this? You guys seem so calm and relaxed. I had a couple clients say that in a couple sessions about, since our last video. And I was thinking for me, and I was going to ask you, I think this just goes back to, again, you really going out and trying it, because, look at us. We are so excited about Cherry Zero and Mountain Dew Zero watermelon. But really the importance of going to try it and celebrating that stuff and not dismissing, because what happens is most people don't think it's happening, that your thoughts are actually creating, because it seems so natural when it happens. Like, yeah, that had to happen anyway. But if you really, really test it out, you're going to see, and you're going to figure out, what is my inspired action? How do I feel in that scenario? How do I understand what makes me push out? How do I see that my thoughts create?
And I also feel like a lot of people dismiss those little things, like those little successes, and they don't give themselves credit. Like, they may think like, oh yeah, that probably like always existed or whatever. But no, like, take credit for those manifestations too. Those are also your idea. Like that's you too. Like, I 100% will take credit for manifesting Mountain Dew Watermelon Zero, because that was my thought. I created it. I didn't make it with my hands, but I created it. And that's the thing, like, our thoughts do travel kind of back in time and forward in time. Like, when you have an idea, someone will have the idea for you, basically, so that they can execute it, so that you can have it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah, you're so right. Like, just to continuously celebrate those things that you think are small, because there really is no difference, as we've said in the videos in the past, of small or big. It's just what we, come up with our mind, and how we perceive the difference between something small or big, so realizing that. And then, like we always talk about in videos about not reacting, but really, you could react in a positive way, deemed a positive way, and you're going to still, like, okay, so don't be so scared of the negative reaction. Start reacting positively to those things, and those are going to manifest too, because you have the energy. So if you're like, woohoo, I manifested that, I'm good at manifesting, that's a reaction. That's a self-concept. That's going to continue for you.
And you just have to let that, like, when you do feel that inspired action, you don't know where it's coming from, let it take you, and like, trust that, like you said, trust yourself, trust where it's taking you, and trust that it's taking you to where you want. Never anything mean that it's not taking you where you want. And you could also create your own inspired action in theory. Like, if you decide, me texting this person right now is inspired action, it will be. But also, like, be aware of those moments where you just feel the nudge to do something. Because when it comes to like a specific person, that nudge may be taking you to running into them right on the street that day.
Yeah, you're right. And you know what you said before that too, you're so right, is having that. But also remember, like, I think something you said prior is really important. There is no such thing as failure. So make everything mean it's inspired action. Make everything mean that you're going to get what you want. Like, I don't want anybody to go away from this video and think, oh my God, am I doing inspired action right? Am I not doing inspired action right? Don't even question that.
Yeah, decide that you are, but like I said, just be aware, because there are sometimes those key moments where you just feel like doing something for no reason at all, and then you just get something that you want or were waiting for, or you really wanted.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that goes along with just maybe even make the intention just to trust yourself. I trust myself.
Like, I know, like, my dog is something specific I manifested too. It's funny, because I wanted a black husky, because I've never had a black husky. I've always had like reds. And but my red husky, like, she lives at my parents' house, and I was 16. She's old now. Like, I don't really. She just lives at my parents' house, and I remember I want a black husky. And I, like, there was two situations that kind of fell through that I was supposed to get a dog, and they kind of fell through, and I was upset at the time. But then I was like, you know what? No, like, I'm getting what I want. And I remember, like, maybe like a couple weeks later, I went to my parents' house and I saw my dog, and I was like, you know what? I actually don't want a black husky. I want a red one again. Like, I do really like the color. I just wanted to. It is my favorite, like, color of huskies, but, like, I was like, I just wanted a black one, just, like, to get an opposite. But, like, this is actually truly what I want. And lo and behold, like, situations unfolded that I got, like, a red husky with, like, unique eye color. My dog has, like, greenish yellowish eyes, which is actually a really rare eye color. Huskies usually have like blue or like brown, like a normal brown. He has like greenish yellowish eyes. So, and he had the temperament that I wanted. Like, he checked off all the lists of like what I wanted. I basically wanted the opposite of my other dog, and that's what I got.
Yeah. To see what's showing up and take that. Yeah. You know, same thing with I think my cat was one of the first things I actually consciously manifested, which is funny because I'm a dog person and I don't know why, but I was like, you know, I just really want a cat. I just don't, well, I know why, because I didn't want to take care of anything. I have 3 kids and I'm like, the last thing I want to do is take care of another animal, but I wouldn't mind having the companionship, you know? And kind of was a fleeting thought about it, but I kind of knew what I wanted to look like and everything. And lo and behold, you know, there's different things that happen, but lo and behold, somebody actually so I used to be a teacher. So it was my ex-students. He like brought it home to his parents and they said, you can't keep it. And so lo and behold, guess who they gave it to? So again, that's that thought transmission. You know, the kid brought it home, decided, you know, like that, thought it was his idea, and then had to give it to me because they wouldn't take it.
Yeah, I actually manifested a cat for my old roommate before too, because she really wanted another cat, and she wanted a cat because her original cat was kind of like crazy, and so she wanted to help it like mellow out and be motherly and whatnot. So she was like, I want a kitten, and she, for like a whole month, she kept complaining that she couldn't find the kitten, that like all the anytime she would show up, they'd be like, oh, we just like gave away our last kittens. If she tried to buy one, they were always out of kittens or like there was always something. And she just kept repeating these stories to me. And I remember one day I actually got annoyed because I was like, I'm sick of hearing you talk about this. I'm getting you a kitten today. That was like my exact statement. I was like, I don't know how, but I'm getting you a kitten today because I'm sick of you. Like, I don't want to hear it anymore. I just want you to have your kitten and shut up about the kitten. So I started looking like that day, and she kept saying like, no, there's no way. Like, I've looked for like weeks and I can't find the kitten. And I was like, shut up. I'm getting you a kitten. And I found like the shelter, and we went, like, we drove there. It was like, we got a kitten, and it was so easy. It was like a drive-through. This was during the pandemic too. So we essentially parked outside. She signed the paper, they brought it out, and we left. Like, it was very easy, very simple, and it did happen that day.
Wow. And you intended it, and it just happened. And it's funny how things like, well, and back to this cat that I have, so I had this story, like, I don't know, like I said, I've never owned cats, never owned kittens. So I had a story in my head of like, I don't know what I'm doing type thing, you know? And my kids called me. Anyway, the cat almost died. Like, I came in, like, they're like, Mom, the cat's not moving. And so I'm like, yeah, whatever. But then I look, and the cat's like, have you ever seen E.T.? Like, where E.T.'s like dying, and they're like, that's probably not, you're probably younger than me. But anyway, it looked like the cat was like dead. Like, I come in, like, eyes are this big, it's limp, it's like only 1 pound. And I took it, and I'm like, no, this cat's not going to die. This cat is going to survive. Like, there's no way I'm letting this cat die. And sure enough, like, they're telling, when I walk into the vet, they're like, it's emergency vet. And they're like, this cat's not going to make it, basically. And I was like, no, this cat's going to make it. Okay. And they gave her a blood transfusion. So just all that stuff is crazy. So the point is, even in those heat of the moments of anything that we're saying, you can like manifest what you want, even in the scariest moments of things that you feel are deemed scary or not scary, or if there's shoes or cat dying or a Mountain Dew or whatever, you can just stick to what you want.
It's all about having that conviction and just deciding that's just what it is. That's it. Like, there's no other outcome. Like, no matter what you see. That's just what it comes down to. And even when it comes to like specific people, I know there's plenty of success stories of people who've even made lists of like, I want the person to look this way, I want them to have these characteristics, and then lo and behold, like someone like that will show up, because again, everything's already in existence. So even if your list had like 50 things in it, like that person has to show up because that person is out there. Like before you, like as soon as you have the thought, that thing is created somewhere. And like I said, your thoughts go back and forward in time. So there's no need to worry that the thing doesn't exist. Like it exists, and it's waiting for you to decide that you want it and that you can have it.
Right, you're worthy of it. That's so true. I love it. I love that. Oh, that's awesome. So thank you so much, Karen, for sharing that story and being here. And again, guys, she's available for coaching. So thanks, Karen.
Thank you, Megan. I'm so happy to be here. I'm happy to be feeling better.
I'm happy you're feeling better too. So, all right. Well, bye, guys. I hope you liked the video. Give it a thumbs up if you did. And I intend that you guys get something out of it. Have a great day, you guys.